at all. He's like the only thing that kind of gives them any sort of credit. He's getting whatever he wants, I think.
Which is always kind of dangerous.
Of course.
Yeah, that's always bad, but I digress. Like Tom Izzo, the brackets really are the biggest reason why we tune in, because we all got a little bit of action, right? We all want to win. But look, the mid-majors, they're the huge reason why we turn into these games. You don't believe me? Well, do we care if Kentucky last night beats Colorado or NC State or any other Power 5 conference school that's not really that good? No, it's the David versus Goliath storyline. That storyline never gets tired in this tournament, ever. The storyline doesn't change, but the characters do. And last night, it was a coach, the tenure of 40 years, and a shooting guard named John who sang 10 threes.
John?
Jack.
Oh, yeah, right. Because Jack isn't a real name.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like they took down David. Who doesn't love that? You know who loves that? CBS loves that. They know, and that's why they put that game on at 7 o'clock on the network. So please don't touch the format of this tournament, but I know what's going to happen, Danger.
They're going to expand.
That's going to be the compromise. Like the NIT will get killed. They will, it'll go away within 2 years. The expansion of the tournament, letting in all the automatic bids, and then you'll get in the Syracuses and the Virginias and all the Power 5 schools so they can just get a bite of the apple with the additional TV money.
I hate that. I'm with you, and I know that if there's money to be made, then they will find a way to make it. And generally, I'm not against expansion of playoffs. I have not been against it in the NFL or in baseball. This, however, doesn't feel right. It wouldn't feel right to expand this. College football, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with you expanding the college football. College basketball, don't touch it. Don't mess with a good thing. This is a good thing, and you've already added the 4 play-in games, the first 4 games, and those are kind of a zero. Like that, we don't need more of that. More kind of like just unnecessary calories to what is already great. And you're right, man. It's
well, why would you even have conference tournaments then? That's like
why have a regular season?
Well, you're right. Like the conference tournament would turn into the NBA in-season tournament. We're like, oh, that was nice, and you raise a banner that nobody cares about. If I may, real quick, Danger, because I have another take on last night's game. It's kind of the aftermath. I'm going to do something unusual here. I'm actually going to defend John Calipari.
What?
Right. I think, come on. Like, I'm going to give you the headline in multiple places, from Outkick, from Awful Announcing, some of these, other take factories. John Calipari throws his team under the bus. Now, okay, like I want to listen to this because I flipped off of it. Game's over. I'm not listening to the post-game interview. I don't really care. But Evan Washburn, friend of our show, we had him on when he came in through camp. Evan Washburn with John Calipari last night talking about why his team lost.
But, we had some guys that didn't play the way they'd been playing all year. We did everything we could. We knew the zone would be tough, but we missed shots. We don't miss. And, the preparation, I thought they were in a great, trying to keep them loose. But when the game started, you had some guys not play to the level they could play.
Of course he had some excuses, Gino. He's Italian!
Wait a second. How is that... How is that throwing your team under the bus? Facts. They missed shots.
Yep.
Yeah. And you know who I blame for all this? Andy Reid. After every loss, Andy Reid gets up there and says, starts with me. I got to do better. Blah, blah, blah,
Not wrong.
Yeah, like have we become so soft at stating facts like, hey, we missed shots. That's not wrong. And no, you don't say, gee, they're college kids, lay off. Nope, that storyline's been retired. These are not kids. They are paid professionals. And when you get paid, you need to perform. And John Calipari did nothing wrong.
I didn't hear anything wrong necessarily there other than him saying on the up front, hey, it starts with me. We need to do a better job coaching. But let me tell you why we lost this game. Guys didn't play the way we played all season long. We didn't make our shots.
So honestly, we have to preface. We have to give the Andy Reid preface on it.
You don't have to, but that's what spurned all the headlines, all the negative headlines. It was because in that little soundbite, there was no personal accountability. There was no Calipari saying, it starts with me, or I need to do a better job of getting these guys prepared for the zone. Whatever it is, he didn't say that. He didn't say anything wrong, and I'm with you. He doesn't need to apologize. He stated facts. He didn't throw his team under the bus. He was just stating facts. And I think Calipari, given how disappointing the tournament performances have been in recent years here for Kentucky, you move on from him, except he's got this lifetime deal. They're not moving on from this guy. This is what you're going to get. And he's become a master of just taking these one and dones and not preparing them to win the tournament, rather preparing them for life as a professional. I didn't hate what he said, but the Andy Reid thing is an interesting observation. It's true. I mean, Andy Reid always, in the face of adversity, in the face of a bad loss, will always be the first one to fall on that sword, which is part of, I think, why his team loves him as much as they do.
Okay, so if Calipari is fired without cause, take a guess at the buyout.
Oh, God. I mean, I should know how much he makes per year, and I don't. That would be how I would determine what the buyout is, but it's got to be $30 million?
You're really close. $34.9 million.
Wow.
But again, this is Lexington, Kentucky. How many big donors? Like, how many, like rolling up and saying, you know what, we got to get rid of Calipari, Mr. AD, and here's my check. That's what it would take. So are the natives restless there to the point where they want to get rid of him? I don't know. That's a hell of a buyout.
Yeah. And for what it's worth, I don't think he's a bad coach. He's a bit of a fraud. Like, didn't make it in the NBA, and he's kind of like nestled into this spot in Kentucky, and he's not going anywhere. They paid him through perpetuity. He's there forever, right? But I imagine that these are frustrating outcomes if you're a Kentucky fan, that you expect more. And I expected more. Man, I had them in the final against UConn. Completely screwed me.
So his salary danger, according to the Courier Journal down in Kentucky, $8.5 million.
Annually.
That's annually. And if you compare that to the Oakland coach, hey, I can't sneeze at this, $329,000.
Not too bad. Not too bad. Making a little over $250,000 in Rochester, Michigan.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
I love that story where he does a radio show every Monday night. A lot of coaches do this. But he actually, in the restaurant they do it at, he's got to pay for the meal.
Oh, really?
And then this final one, they were like, no, coach, you made the NCAA tournament, it's on us. Wow, you would think the restaurant would want to give the coach a free meal.
No, not when you're making that kind of cake. You could afford a meal. This is Rochester, Michigan, pal.
Do you think Jim Boeheim, when he was doing, I don't know where, at Tchotchke's or wherever it was in Syracuse, do you think he's getting the free meal? You betcha he's getting the free meal.
Yeah, well, I have a certain expectation. I've been here a long time, and I've done a lot for the community, and I kind of expect that if I walk in, you're going to genuflect and at least offer me a free meal.
Does Julie gets free drinks at the bar too,
yeah,
right?
Julie gets her free drinks at the bar, and we usually get a little slice of cheesecake to go. Because I like to have a little cheesecake at home. But Julie gets her drinks. I get my my beef Wellington to go, and we expect that will be on the house because we are royalty in Central New York. Don't question me. Just take it out. Take it. Don't take it off my tab. Thanks.
Somebody in the 70s, beef Wellington.
That's what he eats, right? It's got to be that. No, if we come here, we want to have our cheese fondue. We would like to know that it's taken care of. It's on the house because we're the Boeheims. Thanks. We're Central New York royalty. Jim, Julie Boeheim. Thank you. If we were in Syracuse, I'd be fired for that.
You may be fired anyway.
Okay. Good to know. Jim Riley, Ball Cap Sports, and the Barreled Up podcast in Odyssey exclusive. Can't be fired. I'm a company man. Listen to me hawking up these plugs for our Odyssey original podcast like Barreled Up. Jim Riley talks some Major League Baseball with opening day next week. Well, I'm sorry. American opening day next week. Right? Because opening day has already happened, but we'll get Riley's take on a lot happening as we get ready for the first pitch, including all of the Shohei Ohtani stuff. And Gino's Mets. Gino's Mets made a signing. Let's see if Riley agrees with my take that with this Martinez signing, the New York Mets are a postseason team.
I think you're baiting me. I think you're trying to get me excited.
I would never.
And then you're going to pull the rug out from under me. You're going to do like a Lucy in the football sort of thing and pull it away. I'm going to be like,
I would never. How dare you? I would never, buddy. I would never do that. Jim Riley coming up in a couple few. More next. And your calls as well at 4326 866 4326 866 4FAN.
You're listening to The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
In the NCAA men's basketball tournament, a bevy of upsets already.
Upset special.
It's the brutality of March Madness.
It never disappoints. Nothing ever lives up to the hype except March Madness, which always lives up to the hype.
We're not a Cinderella.
I love it.
Love to see it.
Mike Danger.
Everybody that we brought in today is agreeing with me. I don't understand where you went wrong, but we both have the same team cutting down the nets when it's all said and done. That would be the UConn Huskies.
Gene Battaglia.
So where do we define Danger as an upset? I'd say it's probably like a 12-5, 13-4. To me, that moves the needle here. So a 9 over an 8 is an upset?
I think it has to be, because in my mind, an upset is always the higher seed.
So maybe Gene's right. Maybe it's not really an upset.
Yeah.
It's showtime!
Shohei Ohtani.
Mets and DH JD Martinez.
Enough with the Bobby Bonilla garbage.
It's garbage!
The Oilers score 8-3, the final.
Amerks Sparleys. Go Dice! 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan. Rochester.
Oh, say can you see?
No.
Welcome back into the Sports Bar. It's Danger and Battaglia. Here to kick off your sports weekend on the Fan Rochester. Appreciate you listening in the free to download Odyssey app and our stream at the Fan Rochester, our YouTube channel, also on Twitch. Yeah, that was me doing an impersonation of the majority of national anthems you hear throughout the NHL, where they just kind of cycle people in to sing the national anthem instead of having that one consistent killer national anthem.
Yeah, Doug Allen, this is the way we want. I understand, like, if you were a minor league, like the Red Wings, it's nice. Like, hey, have this grammar school, have the band.
Sure.
Yeah, have the kids do it. But
make a promotion out of it, get
absolutely.
everybody involved. That's fine. But you're a major league organization. You have the money. Just make the guy an employee, or girl, make them an employee, and get them out there belting one every night.
We have, his name's Evan. It's a friend of our boss, Tim. Like, he does some, sings every once in a while. He's on
Yankee
Broadway.
Stadium, yeah.
Yeah, we met him.
Yeah.
Cool guy. Like, he listens to the show. He travels down. He does some shows in Broadway, and he lives in Rochester, commutes back and forth, and once in a while the Yankees ask him to do the national anthem, and he nails it. Like, when he goes out there, that's the standard there.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Got to have it. Not this whiny kind of like whimper of a national anthem. Like, you're very talented and brave for getting up there and doing it. Anybody who does it, I give them credit. But we're trying to set a tone here. We want to get everybody kind of frothing at the mouth, and nothing does it for me like a good, solid rendition of the national anthem.
I don't know if somebody did this on purpose or they just don't care or pay attention, but like, a wedding would have a seating chart. And like you see, and normally, like if you know somebody doesn't like somebody, you're kind of moving around. I bring this up because Clemson is playing today in the NCAA tournament. Let me just kind of give a look-see here at the score. They're up by 14 half over New Mexico. Okay, so their AD is seated on press row, which, okay, that's kind of normal too. Sometimes they're up in the box. He takes a seat on press row. But then in the seating assignment right next to him is the commissioner of the ACC, Jim Phillips. They put the commissioner of the ACC right next to the AD. So the guy who is suing the commissioner, they put him right next to one another.
Well, I'm going to sue them for putting me next to the commissioner because I didn't ask to be sat next to him. He's a mean man, and I want to sue him so I can get out of the ACC. I'm Clemson, and we're falling down the stairs, and I need to get out of this conference with Florida State. So you're going to sit me next to him. I'm going to sue you. He came in. He brought in his own snacks into the arena, Gene, and it's not fair. He brought in a bag of crab rangoons, and he didn't share the crab rangoons with me. I was just hoping that I would get one rangoon. Give me one goon. He wouldn't give me any, and it hurt my feelings. I'm suing him. I'm suing the ACC. I'm going to sue Jim Boeheim and Julie Boeheim. They took my beef Wellington off the menu. I fell down the stairs and my shoes fell off.
Why would you sue Jim and Julie?
Because they came to the ACC, they weren't invited. I don't want them here. I'm Clemson, and I'm suing everybody. Don't have him sit. I want the commissioner sitting next to me. I want what's punitive damages.
Jim Riley, Ball Cap Sports, and the Barreled Up podcast. Yeah, he's coming up at 4:25. That's got to be an awkward setting.
Well, but I want to know who the second guy was in. Like, you're not going to, I'm not sitting next to him. You're like, no, I'm going to sit right next to you.
Got to be the bigger guy.
I'm going to sit right next to you.
Got to be the bigger guy.
I'm going to, I dare you.
You can't make a scene. Now you've let them know that you don't want to be a part of sitting next to that person. I mean, we're talking about adults here. Sit next to him. Be a man. Take off the broad. Be a man. What do we got going on? Where's the count? Because I'm starting to feel a little bit like this weekend is working against us a little bit. Am I hearing that overnight we're going to get 3? Oh, Count Hetzko is here. Count Hetzko, it's snowing outside. It's almost April. I thought we were through this. This is technically spring. Oh.
I'm just waking up. This winter, what is going on, Mike Danger? There's no winter here in Rochester. Finally, in spring, we get winter. This is fantastic. Ooh, because you know what? It is a slow news day. Unless you want to read about the reservoir.
Hey, I want to know about why we were drinking dead body soup for the last 24 days.
No, that is old news now. Tonight,
okay.
Lead story once again is me. And we are going to be talking about the weather on the 13 Vamp News tonight. So make sure, because we could get 3 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches of snow.
I'm kind of over it. I know that we shouldn't complain because it wasn't much of a winter, but it is technically now spring. We're less than 2 weeks away from opening day at Innovative Field, and there's snow coming down.
Yeah, I did my bracket this year,
too. Count Hetzko, who'd you have winning it all?
Well, I don't know. I just know I had the number of seeds. I had a 9 seed in Northwestern. I had a 10 seed in Colorado. An 11 seed in NC State. And a 12 seed in James Madison.
Very good. Count Hetzko, everybody. Thanks for gracing us, Count. Well, hopefully we don't get too snowed in. I got a text from my neighbor who's blaming me. I don't believe in jinxes. I don't believe in that nonsense. I don't know how you are. I know we can be superstitious, but to say that it's my fault that it's snowing because I brought out some of my lawn furniture a couple of weeks ago when it was nice. It was a nice weekend. I'm like, I want to sit on the back patio. Let me bring out a couple of chairs. Just put my feet up a little bit.
All right.
Because I did that, now that we have winter, because I did that, I didn't put away the snowblower. That would have been the kiss of death. I don't believe in jinxes. And you know what? And my wife didn't defend me. She could have defended me very easily and said to my neighbor who was on this text chain, she said, I said the same thing. I said the same thing by getting that chairs. Yeah, I'm like, it's a lot of crap that I have to lug from the patio to the shed to the front porch, whatever. There's a lot of crap. I don't get a thank you. I get a I told you so.
Did she tell you to bring those out that day?
I did it.
Okay.
I did it on my own because I know it's going to get done eventually. And I didn't do all of it. I just brought out some, just enough so I could sit in the backyard with a glass of brown liquid and enjoy a nice afternoon in March. It's my fault. Sorry, everybody. It's my fault because I brought out some of the lawn furniture prematurely. We've got a snowstorm to deal with tonight. Awesome. Where are we at with the tournament, Gino? We've got San Diego State.
Kind of in between here. So San Diego State moves on. Marquette had a scare today, but I don't know if it was Marquette playing great or Western Kentucky falling apart. Probably a combination of both. So Marquette, a 2 seed, does not get upset. Halftime, Clemson's up on New Mexico. That was one of the counts picked, by the way. And no, I'm sorry. It was NC State. 42-28. And UConn, oh my gosh, how bad is this going to be? Maybe Stetson should just not come out for the second half. 52-19. 52-19.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like they have an answer. That's UConn setting a tone. I love it. Why be chivalrous? Just absolutely destroy them.
Do not mess around. Like, I would show the film of Virginia a couple of years ago or Purdue last.
Yeah.
Well, Purdue tonight. Are we watching that through? Like, are they nervous about Grambling tonight?
I don't think so, but I've got a handful. Like, I think Colorado tonight gets it done against Florida. I like that. I got Charleston at +9.5 at Alabama, just because I mean, I should have listened. Alabama, who doesn't play defense. So do I think Charleston can at least cover? Yeah, I kind of do. But I think both Duke and Purdue handle their business tonight, win handily. Who else? Oh, James Madison. That's the 12-5 against Wisconsin. Got to watch out for that. So, yeah, I think there's a handful of games that I'll be paying attention to, and I expect Purdue to do what they're supposed to do.
You totally missed the reason why you would take Charleston in the points tonight. Because from New Hartford, New York, the leader on this team at 6'9" is Frankie Policelli.
Hey, Frankie Policelli. Of course Charleston's going to cover plus 9.5 because he's Italian.
So Frankie Policelli went to Stony Brook. That, you ever been on the LIE? No way there. Let's come.
Frankie
let's go down,
Cutlets.
Let's go down and let's go down south. Nice, a little warmer weather here. Frankie Policelli. Tell you what, Danger tonight. If you haven't watched this team, that's an upset. I tell you, that's my upset there.
Yeah. All right.
College of Charleston and Frankie going to take care of it.
Frankie Cutlets, make me some money, because he's Italian. Good stuff. Hey, we got Jim Riley coming up next from Ballcap Sports in the Barreled Up podcast. And the Shohei Ohtani case is something I want to, make sure we talk to Jim about what baseball isn't doing when they probably should be doing it in terms of getting in front of this story and maybe preventing a black eye. Because this, to me, everything that I've seen and read and heard feels to me like this was a case of Ohtani betting illegally and his interpreter essentially taking the fall for all of it. Even if the interpreter was betting on behalf of Ohtani, it's not like a bookie is going to give that kind of leeway to a guy who's an interpreter for Shohei Ohtani.
Well, the dollar, this isn't like, there wasn't a $4.5 million, okay, buddy, I got you covered. No, this was over time. Mm-hmm. This was taking place. And Janet Gretzky got caught up in this. And I remember thinking, really? Janet Gretzky is like into high stakes gambling or whatever? And eventually the case, some people went away. Rick Tocchet was involved in it. And it does have that sort of whiff in this. And you have baseball people, mind you. Shohei would never. How would you know? Honestly,
because we watch him play a game every night. That's how we know we're tight. We don't know anything about these athletes. They live their lives. We live ours. We devote 3 hours a night to watching them perform at a high level, and that's it. That's really it.
So what the update from 24 hours is that Ohtani's now, their spin is they're asking investigators to look into this. Okay, really? No, the investigators are already looking into you. Okay, so you're just kind of giving lip service on this. Mm. Meanwhile, what is baseball going to say? This was supposed to be the team. This was supposed to be like the baseball version of the Golden State Warriors. We're going to put this super team together, and the whole market would love it. LA would love it, and everybody else would hate this team. But you would respect it for the greatness of this Dodger team because they're just so talented. They're just going to mow people over. Okay, let's kind of review here. Your number one star of the sport right now in tagging the list. Oh, and then the $325 million pitcher that you just went and bought sucks.
Yeah. I actually wouldn't have as much of a problem with this story. Like if you told me Ohtani is getting popped for illegal gambling, I'd be like, all right, well, that's not great. But what bothers me about it is the deception, the lies that have come from the original story, like the them trying to spin this and deflect in a way that makes it as if Shohei wasn't the one that was involved.
I think you brought up the culture and the language. I think it's the cultural thing. I don't think, again, I could be totally wrong and swinging on my shoes, but my observation here is that over there on the Pacific Rim, you don't ask these questions. You don't have people digging in. You take pictures and you do everything, but everything is kind of nice from the outside. And if there's something that's sorted underneath, we're not going to talk about that. And you're kind of protecting your own in that sort of way. Over here, no. That's
everybody's in everybody's business. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's get Jim Riley's take on that, and let's get ready for opening day next week. Man, It doesn't feel like it when you look outside the window, as we were discussing, but it is coming, and we're less than 2 weeks away from opening day at Innovative Field as well. So Jim Riley, the Barreled Up podcast and the free-to-download Odyssey app, Ball Cap Sports on YouTube. Our guest talks some baseball next on The Fan Rochester.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger. Top Shelf Sports Talk. You're hanging out in the sports bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
You can hear our next guest as the host of the Barreled Up podcast, an Odyssey exclusive and the free-to-download Odyssey app. Also, Ball Cap Sports, the channel to follow on YouTube. And some 585 Roots as well. For our buddy Jim Riley to talk some Major League Baseball. Jim, we're getting closer, man. Well, opening day technically kind of happened over in Korea, by the way. I kind of hate the idea that opening day happened at 6 a.m. in the middle of the week. I get the growing of the game and the business of baseball, but, man, that feels a little bit off. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. You didn't like waking up early in the morning, flipping on the TV or the MLB TV
to see the biggest star in the game, start the Major League Baseball season from Korea. It doesn't compute. It doesn't make any help me make it make sense.
I liked it. I don't know. I liked waking up early and having baseball on. I think that they are trying to grow the game globally. There are some major stars coming from that part of the world, and they want to stay engaged with that population, with that culture. So I get it. It does feel weird because now we won't play. There won't be games that matter for another week. So that does feel a little weird. But from a logistics standpoint, it's what they had to do.
So, Jim, the way I read this Ohtani story, and again, this is so convoluted. It's one of three things. Okay, one, you take the story at face value, like, oh my gosh, he stole the money. Investigate him now. Two, Shohei was covering for his friend and legitimately, and then they kind of do a reversal because, wait a second, by admitting that, you might be indicting Shohei here, and then the last thing we can do. Or Jim, three, this is actually Shohei, and his interpreter is the fall guy. How would you assess that right now, those three stories here? Which one's the most likely?
It's interesting. There are so many layers, and you can dig up enough evidence to convince me on almost any of them because of everything that we've seen here. I mean, I'll put it this way. This is kind of where I'm at. I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't born yesterday. And it seems like we're learning, we're finding out that there's a lot of people out there that were born on March 21st, 2024, because so much of what we're being told doesn't make sense, doesn't pass the sniff test. But I think people want to believe it because they're afraid of the alternative, because the alternative is kind of scary. There's an unknown, but we know it would be really bad. And I am as well. I am afraid of the repercussions, but the story keeps changing, and it all feels like it is designed to protect Shohei Ohtani. And, there's a saying, right? The cover-up is worse than the crime.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of people have to be thinking that themselves. Now, do I believe Shohei Ohtani bet on sports? I think that there's a part of me that says yes, and athletes are allowed to bet on sports. But the problem is in California, it's illegal to do online betting. And if we circle back to the whole betting on baseball thing, then it gets really bad. But I don't believe that happened. MLB has set the precedent, and it is known what happens if you violate that. So we can cross that off right away. That firm stance they've taken on Pete Rose for so long gives you enough confidence that everybody in baseball understands, don't even try it. Don't even mess around with it. But the online California element being illegal, that's trouble. So if he was betting if he was betting in California, he committed a crime. And his people want to protect him. If it was Ippei, his translator, who was gambling on his own, and Ohtani found out and tried to bail him out and pay it off for him, well, that's still, unfortunately, a crime because of California's gambling, conspiring in illegal activities. So Ohtani would be in trouble that way. So they're trying to pull all these things together to try to convince us that Ohtani is an imbecile with money, that he had no idea that $4.5 million disappeared, had no idea that money had been transferred in his name, and I don't buy that. $4.5 million bucks, your money guy is going to, even if Ohtani doesn't pay attention to his money, he's got money guys that pay attention to his money, and they're going to say, hey, $500,000 just kind of disappeared from your account, and you know anything about that? So there's a lot of story-changing, storytelling, and none of it passes the sniff test. Look, I'll also say this. I don't know everything there is to know about betting and gambling and sports betting. I know a little bit. I don't know everything. So I've been listening to people who do know more than I know about sports gambling and sports betting. And one thing that I have learned from listening to them is bookies, handlers, whoever you're going through, they're not going to get you up to $4.5 million in debt if you're only making a couple $100,000 a year.
That's right.
So none of it passes the sniff test.
Right. I mean, that's it right there. I mean, I don't know that any bookie is going to get give an interpreter that kind of leeway without breaking his legs. But if it's Shohei Ohtani and your clients know that Shohei Ohtani is gambling with you, well, that helps the bookie, and I think that's right there is. And I have, by the way, like if Shohei's betting. Fine. I mean, you're doing it in California. It's illegal in that state. That's not great. But it is. The cover up is worse than the crime, and it's going to make me. And I don't know how it's going to make other fans feel, but it's going to make me like not want to trust or like this player who's a generational player doing unbelievable things. All not because he gambled, but for me rather because he's being dishonest about all of it.
That's the element, right? If he was with all of the best intentions trying to help out Ipe, who generated this massive debt in gambling, and Ohtani was like, you know what, don't do this again. I'll pay it off for you. Don't do it again. Then we get into a spot where, okay, you know what, there's going to be repercussions, but let's go down that road instead of creating this cover up, because then everybody's mind starts to wonder, well, what is happening? Was it Ohtani betting? Was it this? Was it that? Was it baseball? And that can get to a point where it becomes a runaway train, and it's hard to get that thing back on the tracks.
Yeah, if I'm judging by history here, and we're talking to Jim Riley and talking with Jim right before we got on the air, he's like, hey, it's baseball betting again here. And yeah, you have the Black Sox scandal. I want to go back to Pete Rose here because go read the Dowd Report. The Dowd Report will tell you exactly what you need to know. It was just a piece of investigation that baseball was behind. And what I remember about this, Jim, was that the commissioner at the time, A. Bartlett Giamatti, who was Paul Giamatti's dad, by the way, was, unfortunately, like right after this, he had a heart attack and he passed. It took him, probably killed him, this investigation. But just the sternness and how you're not going to do this to baseball, Pete, you're done. And maybe they had some handshake agreement. We'll never know that end because he died. I'm just kind of giving this story, this history lesson, because what is this mamby-pamby Commissioner Rob Manfred going to do? Because I don't see there's going to be any Dowd Report. Why would they want to kill the golden goose right now?
If the FBI is investigating, no matter what Manfred wants to do, what baseball wants to do, they're not going to have a choice. If the FBI is investigating and they find that Ohtani was gambling illegally or that Ipe was gambling illegally with Ohtani's money, in a sense, if the FBI finds the crime, then Major League Baseball is going to have to do anything. I mean, this all gets back to, like you said, the Black Sox, right? Keeping the integrity of the game. We don't want people thinking that players are fixing the outcomes. It is number one in baseball in terms of integrity and keeping things right. And Pete Rose, let's go back further. Shoeless Joe Jackson, and the rest of the Black Sox, they were made an example of. Pete Rose was made an example of. You can't do this. That's why I don't think Ohtani if there are those that are out there running around thinking that he was betting on baseball. I don't. I firmly don't believe that, because I think those examples have been set, and whether you are of this country, your nationality or not, you know that. So you're going to stay away from betting on baseball. But there was obviously a mistake made, and where they go with this is going to be interesting because it's gambling. And that, again, is the number one no-no in baseball is tying in with gambling.
Jim, when he has to face the music at some point here, what kind of a defense do you think Shohei has in terms of the language barrier? Because to me, that's fascinating. That's a fascinating element of this as well. I mean, we're talking about guys that come from a different culture. It's a strict, disciplined culture. and coming to California is a bit of a culture shock, and you're trying to assimilate and you're trying to learn, and it's probably not a defense, or is it a defense that you're Shohei Ohtani and the language barrier is something that prevented you from really truly understanding what you were doing was incorrect?
Yeah, there's also the Ohtani rules exist when it comes to the media. Ohtani is rather secluded. The media does not have full access to him like they have full access to other players. So you'll have the language barrier, you'll have the Ohtani rules. But at the end of the day, if this comes down to, again, the FBI, if this comes down to a Senate hearing, if all of the politicians want to get involved, he's not going to be able to hide from that, and he's going to have to give statements and go through that process. Now, what we get publicly in terms of a press conference or anything like that, I think will likely be minimal because of all of this. And so that's actually that will be a fascinating element to see, is how public, if at all, does Ohtani get with this setting. Does he have a statement prepared? Does he read a statement? Time will tell.
Yeah, we could talk a little baseball itself here as we're joined by our buddy Jim Riley, who you can hear in the Odyssey app, the Barreled Up podcast. Jim, just in regards to what we saw here, and I think I draw the analogy from the Dodgers to the Golden State Warriors, like the team that should win the championship, that just kind of loaded up with stars, and if you're in LA, you're going to love it. Outside, you may hate it, but when you're spending $325 million or whatever it was on Yamamoto, what's your read on this? Is this just a pitcher that needs to figure this out, or did the Dodgers make a big mistake bringing this pitcher over?
I am confident that he's going to figure this out. We just saw Kodai Senga go through a similar transition last year from overseas, from the NPB to Major League Baseball, dealt with some changes, struggled early, but in the end, Kodai Senga established himself as the ace of the Mets. And I think that Yamamoto is going to have the opportunity. Yamamoto, all the scouts grade him out as even better than Kodai Senga. So I'm confident that Yamamoto is going to get this figured out. It may have been just too big of a stage. Making his debut for the Dodgers, pitching in Seoul, everything that went into it. You would hope that he can rise to the occasion and not stumble on the big stage when the lights are bright. I'm confident, though. It's one start. It's one inning. I think he'll be all right and he'll get it together.
We had a signing today. JD Martinez to the Mets. And
yes.
Jim, I'm going to speak on behalf of my Met fan co-host over here and say, you know what? I kind of like this signing for the Mets. In fact, this feels like the kind of signing that puts them in Major League Baseball's postseason if everybody stays healthy. What are your thoughts on the Martinez signing, and are the Mets a playoff team?
I love the JD Martinez signing more than I should. I've been calling for JD Martinez to the Mets since the beginning of February, and it took a long time. They had a big, long staring match and finally worked it out. Kudos to David Stearns for how he worked the money with all of the deferrals and all of that to make it work with their financial parameters that they've outlined for themselves. But it is exactly what you said in terms of what the Mets can now achieve this year is elevated. David Stearns, about a month and a half ago, before the Senga injury, said he felt that the Mets were a playoff team. And he felt that way because they were, by all accounts, really kind of projected to be somewhere in that low 80s win total. And 84 wins got two teams into the postseason last year from the National League. So you're in the conversation if you're kind of in that low 80s win projection. But over the last week and a half, the San Diego Padres, who are also in a similar win projection, added Dylan Cease. The San Francisco Giants, who were in a similar win projection, added Blake Snell. So the Mets had to. Their hand was almost forced to where they had fallen behind two of the other teams that are going to be vying for that final wild card spot. And in the end, there's probably 7 or 8 teams that are going to be going and in the mix for that final wild card spot. Because I think we can all safely assume that in the National League East, 2 teams will go, Braves and Phillies. In the National League West, 2 teams, Dodgers and Diamondbacks. There will be a central winner. That leaves 1 wild card spot. 1 wild card spots for the Mets, the Giants, the Padres, whoever second place in the NL Central. That could be the Cubs, the Reds, the Brewers, That could be the Miami Marlins if they're still in the mix. So they had to do something because they were falling behind, and now they're still in the mix, and it's huge. You keep the fans engaged all year long if you're in a playoff hunt. When training camps roll around for the NFL in August, you won't lose everybody to the NFL. It was, for so many reasons, this was a great signing for the New York Mets.
I'm afraid he's going to pop a hammy or something like that.
There
That's
he
the
is.
way I look at it. Jim Riley, our guest here. The news is not as bad as it could be, but I don't know if they're out of the woods there in regards to the other team that plays in New York. What's your read here on the Yankees as they're going to try to navigate the start of the season here without Garrett Cole?
Yeah, this seems like a destination for Jordan Montgomery now. That feels like it needs to be the move.
So why hasn't it happened? Like, that's what, like, wait, like, just go and do this. Like, George would have had this done months ago.
I know. There must be something with what Montgomery wants. Blake Snell came down to accepting the short-term deal. Cody Bellinger, they all came to acceptance that it's going to be a short-term deal with some opt-outs. Last I heard on Jordan Montgomery is he wants the Aaron Nola contract. And that's not happening because Jordan Montgomery, he's a good pitcher, but he's not as good as Aaron Nola. So there must be some financial element to it that's preventing them from getting it done. But it's the perfect fit because, yes, the Yankees do need to do more. Yankee fans wanted them to do more before Garrett Cole got hurt. So now that Garrett Cole is hurt, you're going to hope that Carlos Rodon rides that last spring start and bounces back, and you're going to hope Marcus Stroman can get his things together. And there's too many question marks. This is a World Series or bust season for the New York Yankees. And if Garrett Cole is going to be out for the year, I mean, right now it looks like it's just going to be 10 to 12 weeks. That's like best case scenario. Even that, in a competitive American League East, in a situation where I just went through the National League wildcard situation, the American League wildcard situation is going to be the same. They need to do something. And it feels like Montgomery's still sitting there. Makes a ton of sense. I think they need to do it.
Jim, you kind of rattled off a bunch of teams that you think could be in the postseason when we get to fall of 2024. What about the rest of these divisions? Can you give us your projections here, your preseason projections of who you see winning which division and who you see kind of controlling their season here and getting to the postseason?
Yeah, I think in the American League, I'm going to favor the Orioles in the AL East. In the Central, it's a toss-up for me between the Twins and the Guardians. It's just going to be a matter of can the Guardians hit. That's what they struggled with last year, was slugging, scoring runs. If they can figure that, if they can do that more effectively, then I think Cleveland has the pitching to win the Central. And then out west, I love Houston to have a big season. In the National League, I mean, it's the Braves with the Phillies probably grabbing a wild card spot. In the Central, it's another toss-up. The Cardinals, a lot of people like the Cardinals to bounce back. I'm not really one of those. I think the Central is wide open for someone like the Reds or the Cubs to snag the division. And in the NL West, obviously, the Dodgers are the pick unless half the team gets injured, and there's tremendous regression. So it feels like it's pretty cut and dry. All but one or two of the playoff spots feel like they're pretty much cut and dry, pretty much established.
Jim, last one from me, and since we last spoke, we had those artist renderings. And we have a running joke here, and it's not a joke, actually. It's more of a fact. The artist renderings never look like whatever they build here. And I'm talking about the Vegas A's stadium here, this Wish, and then something that looks like the Sydney Opera House. I'm the only thing I'm rooting for is embarrassment and shame, and actually I want the A's to kind of stay in. But where does the story kind of go next? Because literally the clock is now ticking for everyone. One, to build the stadium. Two, to build where do the A's play next year in the interim? Because if this whole thing blows up, I don't know where baseball goes from here.
It really is a circus, isn't it? It's anybody's guess what happens next. I mean, you would think somehow, some way, at some point, they will end up in Las Vegas. Enough checks will be written, enough donations will be made to get everybody on board that needs to be on board in Nevada, in Las Vegas. But maybe not. And maybe John Fisher ends up with a spot where he sells the team. He's forced to sell the team. The team stays in Northern California. It literally is as clouded of a future as you could foresee with this situation. And stuck right in the middle of it are the poor A's fans that actually have an interesting team this year. Like, there's a lot of good young talent on this team, and I fear it will be overshadowed, at least outside of Oakland, overshadowed by this whole Vegas debacle.
Fisher to sell the team. Who would? I mean, I'm not going to say Manfred could get him to force because Manfred can't do anything. What would a scenario be where you would see a guy like Fisher forced to sell that team? Any idea?
I mean, we had the Dodgers had to go through that many years ago. If there's some way to figure it out, I don't foresee it, but somehow taking it out of his hands, I don't know if there's any dirt that they've got that they can dig up on him. I don't know, man. It really is. It just. I mean, but can we count it out at this point with how odd and how unpredictable this whole thing has been? I don't know. I don't think we can rule anything out at this point.
The thing that I would say is, like, normally in a story like this, okay, the answer, follow the money. I don't think that money's real. Like, the teachers union in Nevada is pushing back. No casino. Like, maybe you can get that land, but who's actually putting it up? I mean, that's the part here. This seems more like a wish than an actual plan, Jim.
You're right, 100%. I don't. In the end, I don't think anybody can confidently say where they think the Oakland A's are going to be playing next year or 5 years down the road. But they'll be the Athletics, and they'll be playing somewhere.
Jim, tell us about Barreled Up. Tell us about the work you're doing at Ballcap Sports on YouTube as well, where we can get ready for opening day.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on the Barreled Up podcast on the Odyssey app. We're having some great baseball conversations over there, bringing in guests. We're getting ready for the season. We're talking about the big news that is breaking. And on the YouTube channel, Ballcap Sports, kind of doing the same thing, but doing a lot of it live, a lot of live streams, talking about everything MLB.
Yeah, final weekend down in Florida or Arizona. Jim, let's do this again. And by the way, if you're ever up in Rochester, let us know here, bud.
I keep meaning to take a trip up there. There's a lot of old friends up there that I haven't seen in a while, and I think I need to make my way up there maybe this summer.
All right, don't threaten me with a good time. We'll look forward to having you hang out, buddy.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
You got it. Jim Riley. You could see his work at Ballcap Sports on YouTube, and of course, listen along in the free-to-download Odyssey app, the Barreled Up podcast, Odyssey exclusive. Jim Riley. There's a lot of baseball knowledge there. Love having him on with us here to talk baseball.
Yeah, and unfortunately for baseball, you've got to think like a lawyer these days, whether it's the A's move or whether there's this investigation going on that Shohei Ohtani is involved with. Some stories I'm sure Rob Manfred would not like on your front pages. What he would want us to talk about, hey, it's the season of hope. Everybody is good at spring training.
It still feels weird to talk about spring training when I look out the window and I see us getting blasted with a winter storm advisory. But
you do realize the Red Wings open on the road next week.
Yeah, next week.
That doesn't.
Opening day here is less than 2 weeks away.
Right.
I mean, like it just doesn't. Spring is a myth. We've talked about this before. It's not real. It's not a real season.
We had fake spring, and now we just kind of launch into summer.
Fake spring was 2 days, and winter will carry on until we get to summer. All right, good stuff from Jim Riley, Ballcap Sports, the Barreled Up podcast. Happy hour next in the Sports Bar.
Yeah, we got time for your calls. Our phone number, 585-866-4326, 866-4FAN.
And we have a Buffalo Bills signing to talk about as well.
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
is this... Yeah, we'll kind of discuss this.
Say goodbye to your busted brackets. FanDuel lets you bet on every game of the tournament. It is Mike Danger for FanDuel Sportsbook, the official partner of 95.7 The Fan. Now, whether you're betting on a big upset or a one seed, it's time to go dancing on America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 to use on point spreads, money lines. You can even pick who's going to win it all, kind of like Colorado over Florida today. And I'm thinking Charleston will cover as well. Now, got a couple of picks here on FanDuel that I like. Now, you get your $200 to use on those point spreads, those money lines. Who's going to win it all? It's a $5 bet. When that bet wins, get $200 in bonus bets. Just visit FanDuel.com/Mike, M-I-K-E, and bet on college hoops until they cut down the nets. 21 plus and physically present in New York. First online real money wager, only $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. For help with a gambling problem, call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
You're listening to the Sports Bar. The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia.
In the NCAA men's basketball tournament, a bevy of upsets already.
Upset special.
It's the brutality of March Madness.
It never disappoints. Nothing ever lives up to the hype except March Madness, which always lives up to the hype.
We're not a Cinderella.
I love it. Love to see it.
Mike Danger.
Everybody that we brought in today is agreeing with me. I don't understand where you went wrong, but we both have the same team cutting down the nets when it's all said and done. That would be the UConn Huskies.
Gene Battaglia.
So what do we define, Danger, as an upset? I'd say it's probably like a 12-5, 13-4. To me, that moves the needle here. So a 9 over an 8 is an upset?
I think it has to be because in my mind, an upset is always the higher seed.
So maybe Gene's right. Maybe it's not really an upset.
Yeah.
It's showtime!
Shohei Ohtani.
Mets and DH JD Martinez.
Enough with the Bobby Bonilla garbage.
The Oilers score 8-3, the final.
Amherst Sparleys. Go Tigers. 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan. Rochester.
Oh, say can you see?
Happy hour in the Sports Bar, Danger and Battaglia. Here to kick off your sports weekend. We appreciate you stopping by and listening locally at 95.7 FM, AM 950. The free-to-download Odyssey app where you can take us with you everywhere you go. We've got the stream up on our YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester, streaming on Twitch at The Fan Rochester as well. I'm Danger. That's Battaglia.
Yeah, it seems like the Bills have a Sean McDermott sort of signing here. If you have a guy named Clapp.
Yes. Looks like Sean McDermott found his guy and will clap. Do you remember in the early infancy of the Sports Bar when Sean McDermott was hired and we just kind of like thought he's just over the top with his enthusiasm and always positive. He's always clapping on the sideline.
That changed real quick, didn't it? Like if you watch back, it was a week 2 game in Carolina. They actually lost that game, but he was way over the top.
I haven't heard these in a while. We did a series of Everyday Life with Sean McDermott.
Everyday Life with Bills head coach Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott goes out to dinner.
Hello, sir. Welcome to Applebee's. Our specials are... Are you just going to clap this whole time?
You got to set a block. We're staying blocked.
All right. Our specials are the BBQ Bacon Burger, and we have a Dynamite Jack Daniels. I'm sorry. This is really distracting.
That's playoff caliber all the way through, baby. All the way through. Only going to get better. Got a lot of work to do, right?
Okay, tell you what, I'm just going to go ahead and...
Take care of yourself tonight. Win off the field, win on the field.
This has been Everyday Life with Bills head coach Sean McDermott.
Got a series of them. I forgot about those.
You got another one?
I do. What if Sean McDermott goes to the doctor?
Everyday Life with Bills head coach Sean McDermott. Coach McDermott takes his kids to the doctor.
Well, good morning, sir. We've gotten the throat cultures back. It seems that your little one has strep throat. Yeah, we're going to put him on antibiotics immediately, and we're going to need them home from school. Why are you clapping?
We don't care how anybody else win. This is how we win, right? As a team.
I'm trying to tell you how to keep your kid healthy, and you just clap for no reason. It's kind of infuriating the way you keep... Listen, I don't need this. I finished head of my class at Northeastern, and have some father come in here and...
Taking care of business in-house. In-house.
This has been Everyday Life with Bills head coach Sean McDermott.
I think it holds up.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. Will Clapp, guard / center. Versatility. Yeah, checks that box. And on top of it all, when you read up on Will Clapp, he's a wrestler.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Clincher. The clincher.
Oh, there you go. Versatility. 7th round pick. Had a claw his way into the NFL. And wrestling.
Everyday Life with Bills head coach Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott goes to the library.
That's a hell of a job.
Sir, if you wouldn't mind stopping that. Folks are trying to read and...
What we talk about at halftime. What are we doing? Winning.
Okay, that's all well and good, but I'm afraid that if you don't stop, I'm going to have to ask you to...
Downhill, physical. There you go.
Sir, I'm begging you.
Get off the block, let's go.
This has been Everyday Life with Bills head coach Sean McDermott.
It's nice that we could dust that off for this special occasion.
Will Clapp.
Otherwise, what would we say about Will Clapp? He's fodder, right? This is a camp body.
He started 11 games at center. So if something should happen to Connor McGovern, this could be somebody.
This is your new Ryan Bates.
Yeah. Anybody from that Charger team, though, I think you've got some stench on it. And I don't know if Will Clapp, but you're part of a team that quit on their head coach.
Yeah.
Unlike anything we've seen in the NFL, there's been other instances. I remember Bowles with the Jets, but the fact that how much were the Raiders up in that game last year was comical.
It was embarrassing. Yeah. That was when you see that out of a team just flat out quitting on their coach. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, so Will Clapp was the starting center for the Chargers that night.
Okay. Well, maybe he makes a team. Maybe he doesn't. It's a 1-year deal. And I view him as your Ryan Bates replacement. Like, you brought in Ryan Bates a few years ago to see what was he about. Can he make this team? Can he provide some depth? And maybe Clapp can do that. We'll find out more and learn more about Will Clapp when we see the Bills in training camp through the course here of the preseason and the offseason. So there's your Bills signing for today. And look, if you're a fan who's like, who is this guy? Why aren't they going out there and getting it? This is the time of free agency where they're going to sign guys to fill a roster.
You have to bring 90 guys. Only 53 make the roster. You do have a practice squad, so there will be players you've never heard of. It's fine. It's fine. And I just want to point this out, though, how the NFL is a machine, because all right, we have this signing today, but by and large, pretty quiet yesterday and Thursday. And it's almost like the NFL knows how to work the sports news cycle. Let's not go up head-to-head against the NCAA tournament.
That anything we put out is probably going to be muted. In that regard, it's kind of in Major League Baseball's best interest to have the Ohtani story drop when it did, because it's not getting the kind of attention that I think it would have gotten if it was a slower news day.
Yeah, and again, it happened because, well, they got the interpreter out of his element, basically, overseas there, and that's where the whole story was. And I think part of the story here with Ohtani is that overseas, you kind of protect your own. It's not proper to ask these sort of questions, but this was the American media kind of digging into it. This was the LA Times. This was ESPN. So hence the spinning. We were joined earlier today by Jim Riley. He was fantastic. And yeah, I liked his line. Like, if you think this is stolen money, we learned that there were a lot of people that were born on March 21st this year.
Right. Yeah. I was stealing from my boss, and he didn't know, and I was the guy that was $4.5 million in the hole to a bookie.
Yeah, and Brian, our listener, pointing it out right away to us. What interpreter gets a $4.5 million line of credit with a bookie?
No, you get broken legs, I think, if you get to $4.5 million of unpaid gambling debts with an illegal bookie. So that story probably isn't going away anytime soon, but Major League Baseball certainly benefits that story happens at a time when a lot of us are paying attention to what's happening on the court. March Madness is underway. Auburn right now up 4 on Yale. It's been a tight first half between Auburn and Yale, and I want to say that there was already an ejection for Auburn, that they're down one of their players. I missed it, but I think there was a flagrant 2 called, and he was ejected from the game. Clemson having no problem with New Mexico. They're now up 20, 69-49. A nice score there for Clemson. Florida up 3 on Colorado, and UConn wiping the floor with Stetson, as many people had predicted.
Yeah, that's 83-47. I think Stetson should be like, okay, we're just going to shorten the game. Remember Syracuse played Wagner in football, and I didn't know you could do this. You know what? We're going to shorten the quarters here in the third and the fourth to 10 minutes. They took 10 minutes off the game. You can do that, actually? This is Little League? I didn't know we could do that.
That's a little known tool that's used to spare the embarrassment. But yeah, Stetson's probably like a Roberto Duran right now. No Moss. We've had enough getting beat up by UConn here in the first round.
Yeah, and last night, what was great is the sixth sense of the tournament committee, or maybe it was CBS, just understanding, hey, you know what? Maybe this Kentucky team is ripe here for an upset. Let's put this one right in prime time on the East Coast. Get everyone invested, and here's your little Cinderella darling this year. In past, we brought you other schools like St. Peter's and other schools like Fairleigh Dickinson, and this year it's Oakland. No, that's not from Oakland, California. That's Oakland, Michigan, and as I pointed out, that's from Rochester, Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Rochester, New York doesn't have a Division I team, but Rochester, Michigan does.
Yeah.
Oakland. All right, so they're laying it all out. Greg Campy, 40 years, and they have some kid named Jack who hit 10 three-pointers.
Not a real name.
No.
What's his real name?
Jack.
No, he's probably a John.
Oh, John, yeah. John Golke.
Yeah. This was Golke after the win last night.
As a player, you can't think that way. You got to go out there and you got to think that you have the same talent level as them. I know they have draft picks, and I know I'm not going to the NBA, but I know on any given night I can compete with those type of guys, and our team can compete with those type of guys. And that's why I was so confident going into it, and that's why I say we're not a Cinderella, because when we play our A game, we can be the best team on the floor.
I mean, Kentucky's in prime time because they're an electric and fun and offensive team that could score the basketball, right? Like, that's why they're in prime time. That's what we want to see as basketball fans. Hell, they were playing Tennessee a couple of weeks ago, and I saw them. And I'm like, I love this team. This team is amazing. Look, watch these guys. They're just they're electric. It's so much fun. And that's why I had them going to the final against UConn.
That's not the metric you look at. Danger.
Defense, I get it.
Defense. And honestly, I pointed out it last hour because Calipari getting roasted because in the beginning of his statement, you be the judge here. Is he throwing his team under the bus?
And but we had some guys that didn't play the way they'd been playing all year. We did everything we could. We knew the zone would be tough, but we missed shots. We don't miss. And, the preparation, I thought they were in a great, trying to keep them loose, but when the game started, you had some guys not play to the level they could play.
Those are all facts, but by him not getting out in front, because we're so accustomed to, starts with me. You know what? I didn't have the guys prepared. So I'm saying this, I'm not talking out of both sides of my mouth. People that are saying, hey, you threw your team under the bus. No, he didn't. But on the other hand, he didn't have his team prepared watching that last night. Sloppy turnovers. Just you're going in thinking, oh, these guys, okay, we play in the SEC. That was a terrible job by John Calipari, and now there's actually chatter that'll get bought out. He's got the lifetime contract. Danger, you're talking nearly $39 million to buy this guy up, like it's Russell Wilson or something like that. Do they have... How deep are those pockets in Lexington if they want to get rid of him?
Yeah, it's funny. You see the blue blood schools kind of retool after their legendary coaches step away. So I guess that could be something that's appealing if you're a Kentucky backer when you see Duke, when you see Carolina. I mean, like, these are all Syracuse, not quite at that level yet, but we feel good about Red Autry after 1 year. You realize that there isn't a single coach or player that's bigger than the program. And you're Kentucky basketball. You hire the right person, you're going to be just fine. But this is Calipari's deal. I don't think does Calipari even view his team as a team? It's not really a team to throw under the bus when it's not a team year by year. It's this guy's going to be here for a season, then he's gone. This guy's going to be here for a season, then he's gone. Maybe I'll get a guy to stick around for a little bit longer than a season, but maybe not. There can't be any cohesion.
The thing was, he was doing this way ahead of everybody else. Now everybody's doing it, and so what's happened? It's like you're not unique. In fact, you're not getting the pick of the litter right now. Like, anybody can go anywhere. So where you had this advantage of, hey, you're going to come here, you're going to play a year or two, and I'm going to get you to the NBA. Who is he promoting to the NBA off this team? I'm watching that last night. I'm like, nothing really impressive here.
So that's the big upset, the big quote-unquote bracket buster from last night.
Are you okay? Because that was your...
Yeah, I'm kind of upset. Gino, you saw me earlier this week. Sunday night, I'm up late. I'm listening to BetQL. I'm listening to Costos give his picks and who he likes. I'm reading BetQL every day.
They were propping up Kentucky?
One of the guys I tail on BetQL, Dan Karpuk, he said, look, it seems like a value. It's a pretty good value. If you can get Kentucky in the Final Four at plus 700, that feels like a pretty good value pick. And I bought into that. I'm like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I just watched this. Maybe I need to watch more college basketball.
Well, I look, Purdue has the one kid, and I think they're going to win tonight. They're on tonight. Here we go again. They're not going to lose to Grambling, okay, like they lost last year. But I'm not buying into this narrative. Oh, well, they're like going to be like Virginia. They're undervalued. No, the reason why the value is because that's where the money is going. And I was like, you know what PJ Glasser said for don't. There are some schools that I don't know that can get over hump. And yes, for you two Purdue alums that are listening, sorry, this.
Well, my daughter has Purdue winning it all, so she's upset by your take.
Well, then have her come. That when Purdue wins it all, then have her come in and tell me that
I'm going to lose to my family. You understand that. That loss last night means I'm going to have to hear it from my kids for the next 12 months about how I lost the bracket challenge to them.
And you have UConn going the whole way, correct?
I have UConn winning it all.
Yeah, so as long as UConn wins it all, you're going to be fine in the family bracket.
We'll see. We'll see. Today, not really. I don't know. I mean, what do we have for is Northwestern beating FAU? I mean, technically, yeah, that's a 9 beating an 8, right? Baylor handling Colgate earlier today.
San Diego State over UAB, not an upset. Marquette was down, I think, by 7 at the half to Western Kentucky, and then Marquette put up 51 in the second half. Yeah, they mowed them over.
Colorado right now has a 1-point lead over Florida as the first half is winding up in that game. They're up 38-37. That's a 10-7 matchup where Colorado is the 10 seed. Kind of like Colorado in that matchup. Been talking about that one all week as well. And Clemson handling New Mexico. So if anybody thought that Joe Girard and Clemson were going to be a paper tiger coming into the tournament, they're handling a WAC team there in New Mexico, 71-52 right now in the second half.
Okay, if I can have 1 minute on Gene's dreams for Rochester.
Yes, sir.
Because tomorrow night is sold out at the Coliseum, which is great, okay? And I'm sorry if you didn't get tickets, but RIT hockey against American International. And we will never get March Madness. For one, the arena's not big enough. For two, you got to have a host school. Ain't no host school here at the Division I level for basketball. However, we do have a whole school here for. Can we get the NCAA hockey tournament back to Rochester? They did come 1 year, Danger. Would people come out for this? And I'm kind of divided because for the Atlantic Hockey Championships when they were downtown, it was okay if RIT was in it, but I did an Air Force Army game.
Nobody.
850 people there. I'm like, these are two service academies. Where is everybody? You should be out supporting this. And they didn't come down. But if you put that NCAA tag to it, and then my second wish here, Danger, is, did Bonaventure just kind of leave us? Did they just kind of forget about us? Like pre-pandemic, they would bring up a team every year, and it didn't matter who the team was. It was a party. Downtown was alive. A Saturday afternoon, 7,000 in the Blue Cross Arena. We love Division I basketball. Can we get a game or maybe 1 or 2 back here? And that's the school you got to kind of look to, because Syracuse, there's no reason for them to come in and move the game.
So you're saying more Division I athletics in Rochester.
Correct.
Because we don't have, aside from the hockey team at RIT, I remember the Atlantic Hockey Regional being here.
Yes.
And, no, I'm sorry, the regional, that wasn't the Atlantic Hockey, it was the NCAA
regional, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't remember it. It didn't feel like a big deal. Now, if RIT is in it, yes, of course, it's a big deal.
But they couldn't play here if they would put RIT in a different bracket.
That's right.
Yeah.
So there's a part of me that says, yeah, that would be great. There's another part of me that says, I don't know who's going to that. I don't know that. I mean, it's good for our city. It brings in people from out of town, I suppose, a handful of families and friends and students that care enough to travel to follow their team through the NCAA hockey tournament.
Albany's getting these things. And I look at Albany. I look down on Albany.
That's their arena's a little bit more modern than ours.
I've been to that arena. It's not modern. It's more. It's
bigger.
It's bigger. Yeah, it's 15,000.
Yeah, it feels like a bigger arena than Blue Cross Arena. Blue Cross Arena's, the renovations are great, but they're still, it's kind of a flawed venue for the bigger kind of events.
It's
I know that
it's not intimate enough, and it's not big enough.
Right. I know for a fact that there are concert tours that can't come to Blue Cross Arena because the ceilings are too low. Just can't do it. So that you're kind of at the mercy of events that you're the Globetrotters event. The Globetrotters will be there. The Disney on Ice will be there, and that's. But if you want the big concerts with a lot of production, and no, it's it's unfortunate. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm with you. I want more. It would be great if we had more Division I athletic events in our town, but I feel like part of why we don't have a Bonaventure or we don't have those kind of events is that, and Bonaventure isn't the case because you just said it. There are people that would show up and maybe it wasn't a sellout, but we'd have a good crowd down there.
Right.
Is there a lot of overpromising and underdelivering in terms of what you will get when you bring your Division I program or your Division I event to Rochester?
So the way I understand it is Bonaventure, at least this is what they're telling people, they still wanted to come. They still want to come. They have trouble telling teams to come into Rochester. Which I find that hard to believe. Like, we have an airport here. Like, it's an easier kind of lift here. I would think it would feel more like a neutral site game. You go down to the Riley Center, oh, maybe that's it. They really don't want to move it out of their home court. So from a competitive standpoint, maybe that's it. But if you're saying Bonaventure, hey, we're your biggest or your second biggest market to actually recruit from. Students, everything else. Like, Bonaventure are just kind of shaking my head at the NIT thing. So from them not going, I digress.
I agree. No, well, look, tomorrow night, and you're a part of this, tomorrow night we'll have the feel of a Major League Division I event. I mean, that's the Atlantic Hockey Final, and it's a sellout at the Gene Policini, and the Tigers have a chance to go dancing in the men's hockey tournament.
Peter writing in. And Peter, by the way, we've gotten to know him. I know he's from Binghamton. I've struggled since moving to Rochester because it feels more like a hockey town than a basketball town. Thanks for talking about March Madness. This basketball fan appreciates the conversation. Pete, I think there's a big basketball contingency in Rochester. You just don't have much to gravitate to. Like Syracuse, I know there are SU fans here. If the team was doing very well, this would jump to kind of our lead story here. Like, if we had something, the reason we talk hockey, because those are our teams. That's it.
Well, I talk hockey because that's my preference, but that's me being selfish.
Well, I used to talk hockey when the team down the road was pretty good, but
don't say the S word.
No.
Don't say the S word.
No.
Well, we do have Amherst hockey tonight, and they are pretty good. Third in the North Division right now, and they've got a team like Toronto nipping at them, and they're the opponent tonight at Blue Cross Arena. So just after 7 o'clock, we'll have the puck drop. Don Stevens joined us earlier today to give us a little preview of this weekend's action. If you can't get to the arena tonight, Sunday afternoon works. Utica's coming in, and it's Bills Day at Blue Cross Arena as the Amherst host the Utica Comets.
I'm doing the horn. I can't do the horn.
The train whistle, the train horn. It'll have a very Buffalo Bills feel to it, and I know there are a lot of fans that always look forward to Bills Day at Blue Cross Arena. So that's coming up here Sunday afternoon. You can hear all of that action. Your proud home for Rochester Americans hockey here, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester. We're going to take a break and come back with a round of shots.
Yeah, we got some stories here. We'll set you up for the sports weekend, what you can watch tonight, what you can watch tomorrow here. And, it's all these storylines in baseball. Oh, and the Mets make a signing today, Danger.
I'm excited about this signing for you, Gino. So much so that I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
I'll make that prediction next in a round of shots. Coming up here on The Fan.
You're listening to the Sports Bar. The only way to take the Fan Rochester with you is the free Odyssey app. Download it today and follow the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
You can easily argue that they're the best forward group in our division. They have got a lot of weapons up front, and their decor is good offensively as well. So they're offensively really dynamic team. You got elite AHL players who have also spent a lot of time in the NHL.
There's Amherst head coach Seth Appert. As Rochester hosts Toronto tonight at Blue Cross Arena just after 7 o'clock, we'll have Puck Drop for you. Don Stevens on the call. Your proud home of Rochester Americans hockey is 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester.
Yeah, the Amherst have 12 games left in the season. The team down the thruway, the S word. Yeah. They have 11 games left in the season. Now, picture this. Well, what if they won an 11-game winning streak? No, that would not be enough, maybe even to get them in. Buffalo does not control their own destiny. They get thumped in Edmonton last night, 8-3. Leon Draisaitl was not pissy at all with a goal and 2 assists. Zach Hyman scoring goals 47 and 48 for Edmonton. The Sabres have dropped 3 of 4 on this road trip. Final game away from home Sunday night in Calgary.
God, Draisaitl. The guy is, he's always... Well, he's so pissy.
Lots of reasons for why the Oilers are playing the way they are in terms of winning and losing. What do you think is the number one reason for the losses now? Is there one thing that you, in your own mind, you're saying we got to get better at that?
Yeah, we have to get better at everything.
Would you like to expand on that?
No. You can do that. You know everything.
Why are you so pissy, Leon? Why are you so pissy?
I'm not. I'm just answering your
question. Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
I asked you a question.
I gave you an answer.
Not very good one.
Okay.
I have one more for you. Leon, you show your frustration on the ice last game against Ottawa. Is that a good thing when you show it so the other team knows you're frustrated?
Yeah, it's a great thing, for sure.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Wow, there's so much in that,
so good.
Like the polite Canadian PR person.
I just
anybody else want to cut that off?
Yeah, I like him saying, "Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you are, buddy. Not a very good one. Not a very good one.
Yeah, like a question.
I'm trying to ask you a question.
Why are you so pissy?
The tailgating for some members of the RIT Corner crew will begin at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Oh, yeah. It's going to be cold, but you know what? A little fire out there. Puck Drop isn't until 7 o'clock tomorrow night. It's championship game of Atlantic Hockey. Top-seeded Tigers hosting the 5-seed American International. Game is a sellout. The winner gets the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. The official seating 6:30 on ESPNU Sunday
Man,
night.
This is exciting. I'm pumped up for anybody that gets a chance to check this game out tomorrow night. I'm pumped for you to be able to call that game. That's an honor, and this could be a historic night, a memorable night. Tailgating, just have fun, man. Make memories and hope that they do enough. And I mean, we're going into this pretty confident. RIT is the better team here.
They are, but it's hockey and it's one game.
Yeah, sure.
And you have this freshman goaltender for American International that's coming off a 45 save game. So, if this gets to a tie game heading into the third. We're ready for anything coming up here.
All right. Well, good luck to the Tigers.
The Mets make a signing today. J.D. Martinez, the DH, gets 1 year, $12 million, but he's only going to receive $4.5 million this year. The rest is being deferred to mitigate the luxury tax.
Mm-hmm.
So Martinez will make $1.5 million each year between 2034 and 2038.
Mm-hmm.
Danger.
I'm listening.
Martinez had 33 home runs and 103 RBI for the Dodgers last season.
I love this signing. This is a signing that I believe makes the Mets a playoff team in the National League. Should be excited about that. I think you should also plan now in the year 2034, 2035, one of those 2 years when Bonilla's deferred payments are up, when you're finally done scratching up.
2035.
Yeah, let's make that the year that we have both Martinez and Bonilla out there exchanging their deferred payments. Make a big event out of it. Get them out there both to throw out the first pitch simultaneously. I know that this is how business gets done in baseball, but whenever the Mets do it, we're always going to bring up Bobby Bonilla.
So Can you imagine if, like, the NFL did this? Like, if Jerry Jones, like, hey, you know what? I want to, like, defer payments until the year 2035. I'm not going to be around. Like, baseball has a problem if teams are going to, the haves are going to do this, like the Dodgers and the Mets and everybody else.
Well, it's crazy because you see the biggest player in the game sign a $700 million deal and defer all but $20 million of it. Like, that's insane. And you would think that somebody would step up and be like, this is backwards. It shouldn't be, but they don't care, right? Because they want that big dollar number, that big figure attached to their name. So if you're the players union, it doesn't matter as long as you're getting yours, and you will get yours. You just want the big number. So for Martinez, it's less about the, what's the total on this? It's a 1 year, $12 million.
Yeah.
If it was anything less than that, it makes Martinez look less valuable. Even though it's not a $12 million contract, it's really a $4.5 million contract.
Correct. Correct.
So they're always gonna go for the bigger number. Deferred payments be damned. The players just want to make sure that their name is attached to the biggest number possible.
It just it smells fishy. The whole thing with these deferred payments.
I hate it. It doesn't make any sense at all. To me, it goes back to the thing I always say. Like, if you don't have the money, if you don't have the cash to buy the thing you want to buy, then don't buy it. And this is one of those instances where the Mets, they have the money, but he doesn't want the luxury tax, right?
Like, will Steve Cohen be the owner in 2035? That'll be the next owner's problem, honestly. Like, it's like, hey, I'm going to rack up this credit card bill, but you know what? My kids can deal with it. No, you don't do that.
Just unbelievable.
8 games have yet to tip off the NCAA tournament. Tonight is going to be fantastic. Settle in, everyone. 6:50 tonight in TNT. 8-9 matchup in the South. Texas Tech against Nebraska, followed by the 1 seed in that region, Houston facing Longwood. Duke getting placed on the network. CBS 7:10 for their matchup against Vermont. Has a 5:12 matchup. One we've circled, actually. James Madison against Wisconsin.
Yep.
7:25 has another number 1 seed, Purdue. Remember what happened last year. TBS has that, followed by an 8-9 matchup, by the way. Purdue against Grambling State. TCU, Utah State. Over on True TV, you have number 4 Alabama against the 13 seed Charleston. And again, watch out for Charleston because who do they have on their team, Danger? They have 6'9", 225 from New Hartford, New York, Frankie Policelli.
Hey, of course Charleston's going to win because he's Italian.
Frankie Policelli, I'm telling you.
Frankie Cutlets.
If you're not familiar, watch Alabama go down tonight because of Frankie Policelli on True TV.
That'll be a story.
That'll be my choice tonight, Mike Danger, followed by St. Mary's against the 12 seed. That's the last one from round 1. Against Grand Canyon.
A lot of plays I like tonight on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. So I like Charleston plus 9.5. We just mentioned why. Because he's Italian. And Alabama is not really good defensively. Also, nice little odds boost on FanDuel today where Duke and Purdue can each win by 11 for plus money there. I'm kind of feeling like both Duke and Purdue could get the wins tonight with relative ease and win by more than 11.
The most expensive ticket this weekend on the secondary market is actually not in the men's tournament. It's out in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. $148, $148. The get-in price to see Caitlin Clark and the top-seeded Hawkeyes host the College of the Holy Cross. 3 p.m. to the tip on ABC. 3:30 tomorrow, Rochester's own Deasia Fair and her Syracuse Orange facing Arizona. They get the play-in win last night. That game in Portland, Oregon, that game is on ESPN2.
Feels like a win.
Finally, for the first time since 1969.
It's a nice year.
Duquesne basketball got a win in the NCAA tournament. Robert Healy, a professor at the school who teaches media literacy, sports writing, and public relations. He went viral for this note to his students. Class canceled due to March Madness. Go celebrate. I'll figure it out. Duquesne gets Illinois tomorrow night in round 2.
I love that. Look, education is obviously important, but some educators, I think, take everything way too seriously. I love teachers like this. Guys, he's a smart guy. He's an educator. You're going to learn. Obviously, you're getting what you pay for. But in this instance, it's like, come on, we're going to party a little bit here. Have some fun, enjoy your time, and we'll get it sorted.
It seems like this is always kind of a football school down south. Hey, we won a bowl game. No class on Monday, everybody.
Yeah.
All right, so
well, that's part of the college experience too, right? I mean, you should have a good time. You should be social. You should get out there and celebrate your school winning for the first time since 1969. So I kind of dig that. I mean, I've always had it that way. Like I remember growing up and they wheel in the AV card into the school to watch March Madness. It was like, that was fun. You always look forward to that day. So good on Duquesne. Good luck against Illinois tomorrow. I don't like their chances against Illinois, but who knows? Maybe Duquesne ends up as one of those Cinderella Sweet 16 teams that we didn't see coming.
You can write to us on Twitter, or you can write to Danger. He's at AKA Mike Danger. I'm at Gene Battaglia. Phil writing in, Danger Masterstroke Spring.
Oh, don't you put that evil on me, Phil. Don't you put that on me. I'm not the only one who had a couple of nice days there earlier in the month.
What are you doing bringing out your furniture?
I didn't bring it all out. I brought out a couple chairs. I just wanted to put my feet up, have a nice bottle of brown liquor.
And get a folding chair. Get one of those like soccer chairs.
That was little wooden chairs for my outdoor dining set. It's not like I brought the whole thing out. My next door neighbor said the same thing. You jinxed us. I didn't jinx anything. There's no such thing as a jinx. I was trying to stir up I was trying to get under Mother Nature's skin. Wanted to get in her kitchen a little bit. Now, if I put away the snowblower or put the screens up in the garage, that would have been the jinx. I didn't do that.
You didn't do that. You kept your snowblower. You have the man plow.
Man plow's ready to go for tomorrow. I'm ready to wake up tomorrow. Full man plow. I'll be in man plow mode tomorrow. Get that thing up. I haven't fired up the snowblower once this year. So, I'm trying to stir it up a little bit. I'm going to kind of, spit in the face of Mother Nature a little bit. Nice winter. Come with something stronger next year. What do you think? Oh, what do you got for us tonight? 3, 4, 5 inches of snow? We'll be fine.
Yeah, we'll be fine. And then the story, we should kind of repeat this. Will Clapp is the newest signing for the Buffalo Bills. Reserve offensive lineman. Started 11 games for the Chargers last year, but if you remember, the Chargers really weren't that good. He started at center, so somebody... I see what you did there.
Will Clapp.
On, clap off.
Sean McDermott Clapp. It's not going to be sexy in free agency moving forward, just so you know. I mean, like, the Bills aren't signing Odell Beckham Jr.
Wait, they're not trading for Debo Samuel? No. None of that's going to happen?
So.
No,
I don't think so. I think we can look forward to the draft.
Wait, isn't it funny, like, how Odell is doing this again? Like, wait, he's visiting the Dolphins. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Good. Great. Have fun. Every team needs 90 players. Yeah. Every team needs 90 players. You can spend your money how you want to spend your money. Just don't go over that cap. Last call is next at 866-4FAN, 585-866-4326.
You're listening to The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. With Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
They're well put together. They're old. They're veteran. They're well coached. We've been watching film on them, and they're hard to play against because they're really good at controlling the pace of the game. They're going to run their sets. They're going to run their stuff. They execute.
It's Calvin Sampson, Houston Cougars head coach, talking about Longwood. The Lancers.
Yeah, everybody's great. Have a lot of well coached. Everything like that. Every soundbite's the same.
Lies.
Yeah.
All lies.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, this may be nothing. It may be something. I respect Pat Forty. I think he is one of the voices of college basketball. He just tweeted this out. Hearing some buzz about a big Washington Post story in the works on LSU women's hoops coach Kim Mulkey potentially next week. Wagons being circled, etc.
What does that mean?
Well, if you had some dirt on Kim Mulkey, would not next week, or this would be the time to sell some issues or clicks or something like that.
So do they? What does it mean? Does he have dirt on Kim Mulkey? Is Kim
No.
Is Kim Mulkey
the Washington
leaving?
Post is going to have a big story on Kim Mulkey next week, which means this is not breaking. This might be an expose, I'm guessing.
Right. So they have something on Kim Mulkey.
Yeah, the Washington Post has something on Kim Mulkey.
That's interesting. We build him up just to tear him down. I hope it's nothing bad. She's our favorite here in the sports bar. How can we forget some of Kim Mulkey's greatest hits?
They need to dump the COVID testing. Wouldn't it be a shame to keep COVID testing and then you got kids that end up having test positive or something and they don't get to play in the Final Four? So you need to just forget the COVID test and let the 4 teams that are playing in each Final Four go battle it out.
She's nails. Nails.
There's speculation this has something to do with her being at January 6th.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really? Really?
This is all chatter that is on the internet right now.
Wait, so they're speculating that she was a part of the insurrection?
She was there on site.
You have to have some level of 2, 3, 4, and 5 years of consistency to say the program is back. You hear it all the time. I see it in football, college football. You'll see these kids go win an exciting bowl game and they'll go, "We're back." And then the next year they get their butts kicked. You're not back until you do it at a high level for a period of time.
Somehow, I don't think a Washington Post story is going to take down Kim Mulkey.
No, I don't think so. And by the way, if that's what the story is about, what's being speculated, that wouldn't really surprise me either. It wouldn't. And that's interesting. Well, if you're a fan of women's athletics, this is also kind of like the price to pay, right? As your sport gets more and more popular, there are more and more eyeballs on it, and there comes more scrutiny with that as well.
We like to have fun with Kim Mulkey. I thought her interaction with the sideline reporter last week, the SEC champion, they're just downright rude. Kim Mulkey, she is pop on steroids here when it comes to dealing with. She doesn't have any time for your questions or anything. And if you're making enemies along the way, this is
eventually it catches up to you. Yeah, but I also think you will get exposed as more eyeballs are paying attention to what's going on in your sport, and there will be more eyeballs on college basketball, women's college basketball. So, yeah, Kim Mulkey might want to mind her P's and Q's here a little bit.
Well, all I'm hoping for is give me an LSU Iowa rematch in the Elite Eight. That's how the brackets line up. LSU, if you're not familiar, they're a 3 seed.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa's the 1.
That'd be interesting. We'll see if it shakes out. Plenty of action tonight, as we mentioned earlier, in shots as March Madness continues. We have Amherst hockey for you tonight on the Fan Rochester, as Toronto is nipping at Rochester's heels. The Amherst looking to hold on to that 3 spot right now in the North Division standings. Blue Cross Arena, the site tonight, and also on Sunday afternoon. Both games, you'll hear them here on the Fan Rochester. Your proud home of Rochester Americans hockey. Gino and I are back on Monday, and I'm sure we'll have plenty to react to. We'll discuss your bracket and how it's looking, which upsets occurred, and we'll have a Sweet 16 to discuss by the time we get to Monday's show.
Oh, my gosh. What's the world going to look like on Monday?
It's going to be fun.
Wait, yeah.
If you missed Jim Riley of Ball Cap Sports, if you missed Don Stevens, who joined us earlier today, the voice of the Rochester Americans, the free-to-download Odyssey app is the best way to listen to 95.7 The Fan. We sound our best, and you can go back and listen to any part of the show that you may have missed for the next 72 hours with Odyssey Rewind. Also appreciate you checking us out on YouTube and on Twitch, our YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester, and we stream on Twitch every weekday afternoon from 3 until 6. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a little comment if you desire. We appreciate everybody stopping by and checking that out as well. JR Sport Brief next. Have a great weekend. Go Tigers.
Go Tigers.
You're listening to the Sports Bar with Danger and